Hey everyone, this is Joe Brewer here. I wanted to record this little video to give you a more personal update about some of the things that happened for Penny and me yesterday while we were in the Arkansas Headwaters. So one thing that we experienced was we went to the world's largest molybdenum mine. Molybdenum is a rare earth mineral that's used for making advanced steel alloys. Like armor-resistant rounds and armor-piercing rounds for military purposes and other things like that. And that mine, they literally destroyed the entire mountain. They just cut it away and created an open pit mine. And they destroyed two entire river valleys up high in the Central Rockies to build these big pools for letting the minerals settle in huge amounts of water, leaving what are called tailings, which is a kind of toxic, acidic residue up in the mountains and the watersheds. And then later when we went down to Turquoise Lake, which is a recreation area for fishing near Leadville, we saw that the water levels were so low that the water cannot enter into their piping system to pass through the dam. So the dam is basically shut down due to low water levels. But what we saw in the Arkansas River was both beautiful and in a sense horrifying. What was beautiful was we went to the confluence of Tennessee Creek and the East Fork of the Arkansas River, and we saw this beautiful landscape and took drone photos and saw how the mountain catchments give birth to small meandering streams moving through the alluvial floodplains of the valleys to give birth to this incredible river. The Arkansas River, as the name suggests, rolls out of the Rockies across the Great Plains and into Arkansas, and then connects with the Mississippi River and becomes part of the Mississippi River in Arkansas. But what we learned was that the majority of the water that is not draining out of the snowpack, because there's no snowpack. The amount of snowfall this last year was horribly low. And what we learned was that the majority of the water is actually brought from the western slopes on the west side of the Continental Divide, where deep tunnels have been drilled literally through the Continental Divide to bring water from the west to the east and dump it into the rivers. And this is how they can maintain these really large population centers of more than 3 million people in Denver and large populations over 100,000 people in Boulder and in Colorado Springs, where there were never more than 20,000 people at any moment in time in ancestral history. But to have these multi-million person populations, they have to basically extract the water from the west, keep it from flowing into the Colorado River, and dump it into rivers that go into the Mississippi Basin. So you can already start to see the power of this story and how human engineering is doing damage and harm and also making possible very unsustainable urban landscapes. And then at the same time, there's all of that poisonous, acidic tailings from the mining operations. So we also visited a place called Hayden Meadows, where the Arkansas River Watershed Collaborative, which is a nonprofit coalition based in the area around the Arkansas Headwaters, has been doing restoration of these tailings, basically ecosystem restoration to build wetlands and prairie that cleans up and heals the acidic residues of the mining companies. So we did see some beautiful regenerative work, but we also saw some really horrid geoengineering. We saw absolutely sacred landscapes, and we saw a massive mine, primarily for military purposes, destroying a major part of the Central Rockies. That had happened years ago, but it's still continuing. It's an active mine today. And more than $500 million has been invested in infrastructure of that molybdenum mine since 2008. So just think about the billions of dollars invested in fracking that we saw in North Dakota. And now we're seeing $500 million in infrastructure for one mine that is destroying part of the Central Rockies. But you can't find funding to do regenerative work. I wonder why that is. So I just want to share with you the kinds of things we're seeing. A few days ago, we were in Boulder, Colorado at a powerful gathering of people organizing around the regeneration of the Front Range, where the mountains meet the Great Plains. And tomorrow we're going into the Ogallala Aquifer panhandle of Texas on the High Plains. So we are connected to beautiful regenerative work. but we're connecting to it in the context of extremely complicated situations that absolutely depend upon bioregional scale thinking to even understand them, let alone to attempt any kind of a meaningful and restorative intervention. So I wanted to share that with you as we travel around planting seeds of bioregional learning centers, and people are really taking this seriously. That we're also seeing the scale of the challenges and the potential pathways for regeneration at large scales by traveling through the Mississippi Basin in the way that we are. So thank you for listening. Come and join us on Substack in the Design School for Regenerating Earth and wherever you may find us. Maybe we'll even meet on the road in the coming weeks. And great to have you here today. Onward, fellow humans.